and welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to review the COLOURPOP's Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation. So if you're not new to my channel, you know that I usually gravitate to foundations that really looks like skin, and this foundation claims to be like that, so I'm very excited to review this foundation. So before I show you my try on, let's read the claims of this foundation. So on their website it says, this skin perfecting medium buildable coverage foundation creates a healthy skin-like finish. Get coverage and hydration with the same good for you ingredients like hyaluronic acid for your healthiest skin ever. The finish is natural, and what's inside is a Hydra Fresh complex formulated with fruit extracts to enhance the look of skin by instantly hydrating and diminishing the look of fine lines while delivering hydration over time. It has hyaluronic acid, which is well known to attract 1,000 times its weight in water, and coconut water, known to support hydration and skin softness. You have seen my previous video with the Cushion Foundation, which is also a hydrating foundation. It also has coconut water. So coconut water seems to be the trend now with foundations, and I'm really liking it because I really like hydrating foundation that doesn't really look sticky and oily. It really just looks like a healthy glow from within. So I'm going to show you my try on. This is actually the second day that I'm wearing this foundation. The first time I filmed this, my microphone, I don't know what's with it, but it didn't really record my voice. So I'm going to show you my try on, my application. And with application, I use this airbrush sponge, which you can get from all.cosmetics.com. I really love this sponge. It has this really nice fiber on top of it, so application is really a breeze with this tool. And what's good about this tool is that it's a brush and sponge in one. You can use it dry or you can use it wet. You can use this dry when using powders and stuff like that, and then you can use this wet with your creams and with your foundations. And it's rare that I don't use this when applying foundation because it just gives you that seamless application. So if you haven't tried this sponge, you should try it. I'm going to put the link down below. It's an amazing tool, especially if you want to cut your foundation application in half and you just want to have that flawless finish. This is a must. So my first impression with this foundation, when I used it on half of my face, I was really impressed because with just one pump of foundation, I saw that it really evened out my skin tone. I didn't even have to put concealer under my eyes. I have to put it just to highlight because the foundation is a shade or two darker than my skin tone. So what happened was I used my foundation as like my contour and my bronzer. So I just highlighted the center of my face. But now that I have my full face makeup on, I think that it suits my skin tone now that I've highlighted the center of my face. So I'm really liking this shade now. But if I'm just going to use it alone, it's going to be a shade or two darker on me. If you're an NC30 in MAC, maybe you should get a shade or two lighter than this. And the shade that I got is actually medium 100W. So let's go back to my first impression. First, I really love how easy the application was with this foundation. It just really glided well on my skin, especially when I used my airbrush sponge, and it really evened out my skin tone. I don't see my redness anymore. My skin tone is very even. I can see my hyperpigmentation top of my cheeks, but that's really hard because with this I really have to color correct and then put foundation on top. But with my pimple mark, I can see a little, but only if it's really up close. But if we are on a safe distance, honestly, I can't really see that dark marks here, which is my healing pimple. Like, that wouldn't be too obvious. So I like this about this foundation. And also when I put this on, it feels and look light on my face. Like, it's a thin coverage, but it's very opaque, and you wouldn't even notice that you're wearing makeup on because it's not warm on the face, and it's just very light on the face. So far from my first impression when using this foundation, I was really blown away. Now let's go with the cost. So this cost $16 US. I got this from Ulta.com. And I'm not sure if this is available in Canada or in Sephora, but I got this at Ulta.com for $16 US. For me, a $16 foundation for 30 ml is just like a drugstore foundation when it comes to price. So plus points for ColourPop when it comes to cost. Now when it comes to packaging, I like that it comes in a glass bottle, and I like that it has a pump so you can easily dispense this. The only thing that I'm having problem with this on my first day and actually on my second day is that the liquid inside is very liquidy. Like when you shake it, you can really hear it. So it's hard to dispense. You really have to like pump a few times before the product will come out. So a while ago when I can't really pump this foundation and I've been pumping and nothing's coming out, I have to remove the cap and just put the foundation in the back of my hand. But when I did that and then I closed this, the foundation dispensed properly again. Because of its consistency, you might have a problem dispensing this foundation. Now when it comes to scent, I know that some of you are sensitive to smell, and luckily this doesn't have any scent. So if you're sensitive to scent, this is okay for you. Now when it comes to shade, as I've told you, I got the 100W medium, and I should have gotten a shade or two lighter. But this foundation comes in 42 shades, so it really caters to a lot of skin tone. So now let's talk about photography with flash and non-flash. Luckily, this foundation did not oxidize on me, and it really kept its normal shade. It didn't change throughout the day. But the only concern I have is since it has a thin consistency, when I took a photo from my phone, you can really see my pores. It didn't make it worse, but it's just obvious because the foundation is just laying flat on the skin and it's very thin. Now when it comes to wearability, on the third hour I could see some transfer. It's not transfer proof, that's the only thing with this foundation. But when it comes to coverage, the coverage is still there. On the 6th hour though, I had to wear a mask. So when I checked on the mirror, I could see that I don't have any foundation on top of my nose, but everything else was fine. Like the side of my face was fine where the mask was. So I guess if your mask is just laying on your face, it's fine. It's when the mask kind of rub off your face, then the foundation would sure stick to that. Skin prep is really key when using this foundation, and like you really have to have like a primer that has a grip. You also have to make sure that you powder on top and you do a finishing spray because it has a tendency to transfer. So now that we're done with the wearability test, I'm going to tell you my final thoughts about this foundation and my pros and cons. So I'm giving this foundation a 4 out of 5 stars. The 1 star is because even though it's wearable for 3 to 6 hours, you just have to make sure that you have trusted primer. You have to have your trusted translucent powder. You have to have a trusted finishing setting spray because of the transfer. But other than that, I actually think that this is comparable to a high-end foundation. I actually think that it can compare to the Charlotte Tilbury foundation that I have reviewed before. I'm going to put the name of the foundation here because right now I'm not sure what it's called because she launched a lot of foundation after I used that. But I can compare it to the Charlotte Tilbury foundation, which costs like 3 times more because it really looks like skin and the coverage is really good. And actually, I'm going to tell you my pros and cons now so I can dive into what I like and what I don't like about this foundation. So let's start with the pros. So my first pro is that I really love the finish of this foundation. It really gives you like a healthy glow look, and sometimes foundations would have that kind of effect by adding some glitters or a little sparkles in the foundation. But this doesn't have that. It's maybe because of the hyaluronic acid and the coconut water that just really hydrates your skin, so the glow is more natural. And my second pro is that I like its coverage. It really evened out my skin tone. It hid my redness. It hid my imperfections. I didn't even have to put concealer under my eyes, so it really has a good coverage. So I love that it feels very light on the face even though it's giving you that high coverage. And I also like that the application was such a breeze. When I put on my cream highlight and when I put my powder blush, everything blended on top seamlessly. So I really think that this is a good base, and I really like how easy it was to apply. And I also like that it didn't oxidize on my face. It kept my original shade, so it was easy for me, even if I got the wrong shade, to just highlight the center of my face. And this foundation just acts as a bronzer. And it's available in 42 shades. Warm, cool, neutral. So I really like that it caters to a lot of skin tone. So now for my cons. Like on the third hour, I really saw some transfer, especially on my nose, and it felt a little tacky. So with this foundation, you really have to set it with powder, you really have to set it with setting spray. So that's my main concern about this foundation. And I suggest that if you're using a finishing spray, don't use a hydrating or a glowy mist. Use more of the mattifying or just a regular spray, because you wouldn't need additional glow with this foundation on. And my second con is that because it's very thin, my pores were visible with this foundation on. So just make sure that you have a pore minimizing primer before using this foundation. So far, I have not tried any ColourPop product that I didn't like, and this foundation is no exception. I really like this foundation, and I think that you should give it a try if you want a foundation that looks very natural and will give you that healthy glow. I would for sure recommend it. On my next review, I will be reviewing the foundation drops by Rihanna. So make sure you hit that notification bell. Don't forget to like this video, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll always be updated once a new video is out. Thank you so much lots again for watching, and I'll see you on my next one.